What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So we are continuing on with our series, giving updates on recent NHL drafts, basically the first round, and also looking at later prospects that seem like they're panning out. We've done 2023, we've done 2022. Feel free to go watch those videos, but I hope that you already have. We're going to be doing the 2021 draft, where there hasn't been like a true superstar to emerge from this draft, considering these guys are only like 22 years old. But there has been a lot of high-level guys. When looking at the top 9 of this draft, it's looking like a damn good top 9. The 10th overall pick that I probably put in the thumbnail is one of the biggest reaches of recent memory. But yeah, the top 9 is looking pretty solid, as well as having some steals later on in the draft. So you know the drill by now. We go through the first round, and then we see who's kind of catching our eyes. Just look through their hockey DB. Owen Power, first overall, debuted 2 seasons ago in the 2023 season, was very impressive. Has kind of stagnated offensively a little bit, on pace for higher points per game this year compared to others. He's in a little bit of a tough spot, obviously, considering he has one of the best left-handed defensemen in the NHL behind him, or in front of him, in Rasmus Dahlin. Still, at 22 years old, already proving to be a guy that can handle like 23, 24 minutes a night. Will he ever become that number 1 top 10 defenseman that we maybe thought on draft night? Not saying he was like a consensus number 1 pick, but everybody had him penciled in roughly there. We'll see. But yeah, so many physical tools, and already has proven himself to be a good player. Solid pick for the Buffalo Sabres, and was kind of expected to go first overall. Matty Beniers really burst onto the scene in his first year with 57 points. The offense has kind of stagnated and regressed this year on a higher points per game pace. He's awesome defensively. He's at worst, I think, at this point, I think he's going to be like a 50-point great defensive center. His analytics every single year defensively have been in like the top 10 percentile. Just needs to get back to that offensive level. Just signed a contract last summer, $7.1 million, and only really needs to be on that contract, considering the salary cap rising, is the player that he was in his rookie year. Just will he get back to that? That's what we got to see. We got to see him get that offensive game back, because, yeah, defensively he's there. Offense, you expect a lot more out of a second overall pick, but not a bust, not like a severe reach at this point. Although I think in a redraft, he probably wouldn't go second overall. Mason McTavish, on basically the exact same pace as last year. Goddamn consistency there. 43 and 64, 42. Yeah, Craig Cronin, I don't think is the best offensive coach for some of the youngsters on the Ducks. We talked about it with Leo Carlson and Pavel Mitnyakov, who's a defenseman. But yeah, was a little bit of a shock on draft night going 3rd overall. He was a late riser. I think he can be an effective second liner behind Leo Carlson. And again, even this season, he's still on pace if he can stay healthy, which he hasn't the last 2 years. He's only missed a couple games this year. Already on pace for like 50, 55-ish points. Mason McTavish, big boy, 219 at only 6'1". A pretty solid player at the NHL level already. Luke Hughes, last year really broke out with 47 points. The points per game has gone down a little bit because last year he was on that top power play because Dougie Hamilton was hurt. But yeah, still on pace for around 45-ish points. Defensively, he's much better this season compared to last. One of the better skating defensemen in the NHL already. 6'2", 200 pounds. One of the youngest, was like the youngest player in this draft, September 9th birthday. So he's 6 days away from being a 2022 eligible guy. I'm still really high on Luke Hughes. Out of the top 4 that we have right here, you'd probably go first overall for me. It's between him and Owen Power at this point. Kent Johnson really broke out this season. 46 points, 22 goals in 55 games. Yeah, he's been very impressive. Last year, Pascal Vincent hated this dude for some reason. But after that rookie year, we knew that the talent was there. And he's put it on full display. Damn good by Columbus. For Kent Johnson, he's developing very well. Simon Edvinsson, very good rookie season this year. 26 points in 65 games, has been very solid defensively. I know I get this comment all the time. Yeah, with defensemen, this isn't the perfect exercise to update them, or even forwards, because I'm not looking at their overall in-depth stats analytics. But yeah, him and Mort Seider have been the 2 bright spots. They're really the only 2 bright spots. Albert Johansson as well for the Detroit Red Wings defense corps. Looks like he can be a solid number 2 down the line for Mort Seider when they're actually winning serious games and making the playoffs. Very solid pick. William Eklund, he was my number 3 prospect when I dropped my draft rankings back in 2021. 52 points, 65 games after having 45 last year. I think that he's going to be an elite first liner. I think that the writing is all on the wall, and especially considering he's going to have the benefit of playing with someone like Macklin Celebrity, I'd be shocked if he never has an 80-point season. Maybe that's a little bit too high praise, but again, He's putting up like 65-point pace on a bad Sharks team. Once they become good, once Matt Celebrini a top 10 player in the NHL like he might be, William Eklund's going to be getting a shit ton of respect. Brandt Clarke, tough situation this year. Offensively, he's been great, but he's only been playing like 16, 17 minutes a night. There were trade rumors regarding him. I don't think that they should trade him. You look at this guy's track record. 2023 was almost 2 points per game at the OHL level. AHL had the highest points per game among defensemen. Yeah, maybe he's not the perfect two-way defenseman, and he is in a tough spot considering LA is kind of trying to win now. But this guy has all the makings of being a legit number one stud offensive defenseman, 60-plus point guy. Again, just below half a point per game. Jesus, I'm word vomiting right now. At 22 years old, Brandt Clarke, beast. Dylan Gunther, another guy that I was very high on in his draft year. Loved the contract when he signed it. And yeah, he's just taken another step. Last year was about 30 and 30, 32 and 32 kind of pace. This year around 35 and 35, 36 and 36. A goal scorer is goal scorer. He's goal scored at a high rate everywhere he's went. WHL, AHL, I wasn't exactly killing it, but NHL, a great goal scorer in Dylan Gunther. Him and Logan Cooley are going to be one of the best duos in the NHL point blank period in like 5 years from now. Now we got our one bust. Tyler Boucher, definitely. We went from potential like all-time top 10 to kind of falling off a decent amount with Tyler Boucher. He weighs it down. This year in the AHL, 8 points in 37 games. Yeah, he was expected to be like a late second-round pick, early third-round pick. His dad is obviously Brian Boucher, former NHLer. No business going that high. He wasn't regarded as that. And then once you saw him at Boston University have 3 points in 17 games, all your suspicions were confirmed. 6'2", 215 pounds. They maybe thought, oh, he's somewhat skilled. He's a big body. He can be a physical middle sixer, I guess, but even at 10th overall, that's still a big-time reach. Cole Sillinger, great first season in the NHL with 31 points in 79 games. Has bounced back. Good for Cole Sillinger last year. Well, his sophomore year was really bad. 11 points in 64 games. Then bounced back. Now above a half a point per game. I believe his analytics are pretty pitiful, but again, considering what we saw after his sophomore year, you thought you might never recover after this. And obviously his off-the-ice stuff, nothing bad, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. He got clowned to holy hell. But Cole Sillinger back on the up. Good for him. Matt Coronado, Long Island's very own, Greenlaw, New York, killing it this season. 20 goals, 37 points, 64 games. Got 2 goals against my New York Islanders against his hometown team. Yeah, just a very skilled goal-scoring small wing. And I think that that's what the Calgary Flames wanted with this pick. And that's exactly what he's gotten. He's been highly productive at every single level. 20 goals, 34 games played at Harvard. Then at the AHL level, 42 points in 41 games. Just a great trajectory for Matt Coronado, a guy that was kind of doubted a little bit because of his size. Isaac Rosen, he's been in the AHL, it feels like, for 4 years. 3 years, but yeah, we got to get this guy out of the AHL. He's been just on a positive trajectory in terms of the AHL production, 27 and 27. That's very, very impressive. Just Buffalo has this like logjam of young forwards at the NHL level. You either trade him this summer or you actually give him NHL time because he's done everything in terms of his 3 years at the AHL level to prove that he's ready. Sebastian Cossa. Very good AHL numbers this year. They were a little bit better at the midway point of the season, but still 9-13 in 35 games. Considering this guy after his 2023 season, we're like, oh my God, they really reached. They traded up, and that pick that they traded up, that they gave up to trade up, eventually turned into Wyatt Johnston. We thought, oh my God, Steve Yzerman. But at this point, back-to-back 9-13 seasons, he's a safe top 10 goalie prospect in hockey. Solid. 15th overall, that's what you expect if you're selecting him at 15th overall. But yeah, he's definitely back on track. Brennan Othman, when looking at him, 1 point in 13 games. He had an injury, I forget when it was, that kind of derailed him, I believe. Maybe not, based on what I'm seeing. But I thought he did. But yeah, he has been okay at the AHL level, but nothing really special. And at the NHL level, has struggled of late. Zachary Bolduc, actually doing pretty solid at the NHL level. I was not aware that he was full-time with the St. Louis Blues. Maybe that's on me. That's my bad. But, yeah, not the most impressive AHL numbers last year, but he's been producing at about the same rate at the NHL level this year. So, good for Zach Bolduc. Bolduc? I don't know how that's pronounced in French. Chaz Lucius, Winnipeg Jets 18th overall pick. Probably nothing at this point. It appears like he has dealt with injuries, only playing 17 and 25, but 9 points in 25 AHL games in your draft year +4 at this point. Probably not going to turn into anything, unfortunately. Fedor Svechkov, productive at the AHL level, has made his mark at the NHL level, not exactly killing it, but maybe potentially something there. Nashville has just been a train wreck. Jesper Wallstedt. Dude, his AHL numbers are poo-poo. Jeez. You thought after his first season in the AHL, you're like, this guy's the consensus best goalie prospect in hockey. Then had another good season. But this year it's been downhill. I guess maybe the Iowa Wild, they're horrible. You could tell me that in the comments section, but that's no reason to have an 882 in your draft year +4. Again, SHL killed it, came over, killed it again. It's concerning. I still would have him in a top 10 goalie prospects just because I'm not going to, with a goaltender, I'm not going to completely overreact to 24 games. But not good for Wallstedt, who, when the draft was going down, was the consensus best goalie prospect. You all thought Yzerman was crazy for selecting Kosa, trading up to select Kosa ahead of Wallstedt. Looking like he maybe made the right call. Fabian Lysell. Ooh, those AHL numbers have regressed a bit. Good that he finally got some NHL games after last year. He probably should have. But that's concerning. But now after that deadline, Boston doesn't have to rely on Fabian Lysell turning into this stud. They have a shit ton of picks and other prospects that they picked up in the process. Xavier Bourgault. I remember Oilers fans told me after like his first year in the AHL, this guy's something. Unfortunately, has not really happened. He's with the Ottawa Senators at this point. 19 points, 50 games. You had a great QMJHL draft year +1. Unfortunate Oilers development. Wyatt Johnston, probably the best player in this draft. Yeah, I think we can probably agree on that. 65 points last year, killed it in the playoffs with 10 goals in 19 games. And this year, he started off a little bit slow, but since like the 15 game mark has been a couple points above point per game, beast. Samoskevich up next. Has made a little bit of a dent at the NHL level last year. Very productive in the AHL. Yeah, Florida needs these cheap forwards as they continue to pay their guys. And Samoskevich has definitely fit that role for them. Corson Kulemans, probably nothing. He's a defenseman, so maybe he's locked down defensively. I can't tell based on their Hockey DB page. But nothing too special offensively. And Columbus has other defenseman prospects that they can rely on. Carson Lambos, same thing here. I'm sure someone in the comments can say he's awesome defensively. You can't just look at a Hockey DB page. But you got to have some offensive game to make it at the NHL level. Zach Larue, I believe, he's already got suspended like multiple times. He's a menace. He's a guy that got suspended at the QMJHL level for poking a fan with his stick intentionally into the crowd. He's a physical guy, very physical guy, and maybe is a future in the league as a fourth liner. But yeah, a little wild. Oscar Olsson, don't know much about him. Right wing, 23 points, 56 AHL games for Colorado. Probably turning into nothing, but best of luck with his career. Chase Stillman, I believe this was as a result of the Kyle Palmieri trade. And the Islanders are not massively missing him. The JG Pajot trade, that pick turned into Ridley Gregg. That's a little bit hurt. I feel bad. We made 2 conference finals, but that one, not so much. Zachary Dean, he was in the Barbashev trade. Clearly looks like Vegas won that by a decent amount. It was Barbashev for Dean straight up. Yeah, he was very productive in the QMJHL in his draft year +2, but has not stuck at the even at the AHL level, has not been highly productive. Logan Mailloux, the most controversial pick of this draft night. I'm not going to speak about it further. You can go do your own research on why that was. 31 points in 53 AHL games. Yeah, he's been productive in the AHL. Defensively, he was horrific, even though he had 4 points in 7 games. He had something like 5.5 expected goals against per 60 in those 7 games. So still has some more developing to do. We'll see how it goes. Again, Montreal has other defenseman prospects that they're not going to be relying on Mailloux at this point. Nolan Allen has gotten some NHL run. I remember he was on like my first team all-rookie defenseman just because he's played. Like, there's no other rookie defenseman besides Lane Hudson that qualify for the Calder. And yeah, he got some run. Maybe he can turn into something. If he turns into your third left-handed defense at this point, you take it. I don't know. They again, similarly to Montreal, they have a metric shit ton of other higher ranking defenseman prospects at this point. Olin Zellweger, damn, offensively, Greg Cronin, man, we got to get a new coach in there because Zellweger goes from being one of the best AHL defensemen to having 15 points, 52 games. He still has to develop his defensive side of the game, and he is a little bit undersized, but I still believe in him offensively that he has the tools. Riker Evans was playing good hockey early on for the Seattle Kraken, 24 points, 63 games. Has gone down to the AHL because their top four is kind of solidified, and you'd rather have him be the number one defenseman at the AHL level compared to playing 17 minutes a night. But yeah, he's definitely a stock-up guy considering what he's done the last 2 seasons. Shea Boyum, brother of Zeev Boyum, 23 points, 58 AHL games. Maybe can turn into a third pair left-handed defenseman. You'd take that at this point. Josh Doan lit it up to end last season. Okay, highly productive at the AHL level. NHL hasn't quite been, not saying I was expecting him to continue the pace that he put up in those 11 games, but looks like he can be something. 6'2", obviously has a legendary father. Scott Morrow, underrated guy in my opinion. Killed it at UMass for 3 seasons, then made the jump to the AHL. Highly productive. This season, 4 points in 7 games for Carolina. Next year, he'll be a regular for Carolina on an ELC, replacing a guy like Brett Burns probably, and for a sixth of the cost and probably similar production when looking at it. Francisco Pinelli, I remember him tearing up the OHL. Okay, doesn't quite look like he's going to turn anything at this point. Ilya Fedotov, left wing. I just saw Russian and clicked on it. Atu Ratu, Islanders legend that was involved in the Bo Horvat trade. Okay, 39 points in 41 AHL games. That's impressive. Yeah, this guy was like, if you follow the NHL back in 2020, he was expected to be the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft. Had a brutal draft year. Again, 6 points in 35 games. Then came back and killed it. Then they eventually flipped him for Bowie Horvat. But yeah, maybe he can turn into something for the Vancouver Canucks. Oh, I missed Stankoven. I'm sure Stars fans already commented. We also got Stankoven in that draft. And yeah, well, maybe not. You're commenting anymore considering he got traded. But another Jim Nill gem. He only really fell because he was undersized and because Cam Loops barely played in that 2021 season. But yeah, ultra talented. I believe he was the WHL Player of the Year, or the CHL Player of the Year, maybe, in 2022. No, he was WHL for sure. I remember that. I don't know if he was CHL. But made his impact on Dallas. Then, unfortunately, got traded to Carolina. But he has been very good in Carolina. And Carolina has, I believe they're like 6-1 or 5-2 in the games with Stankoven. Best second-round pick probably in this draft based on what I'm seeing. Oh, Matthew Nyes is also here, so I should not speak before I see. Matthew Nyes, 57th overall. Very good Kyle Dubas find. Highly productive at the University of Minnesota. That top line of him, Cooley, and Snuggerud that one season was crazy. And yeah, he's been progressing very well at the NHL level. 6'3", physical dude. Perfect kind of Zach Hyman replacement in a way on that top line. Very good find. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. JJ Mosier. He was an overager. He's like 2 to 3 years. Yeah, he's already 24. He's going to be 25. Geez, so he was 2018 eligible. But yeah, Arizona snagged him, and he was immediately, like, right off rip, a solid NHL defenseman. Eventually got traded in the Sergachev trade, where he's been okay. He had a great start, but has definitely slowed down a decent amount. How's Colton Dock doing? Brother of Curbs. Okay, he's been getting some NHL run. People thought that this was a Nepo pick at the time, but clearly for a 62nd overall, he's far out producing draft expectation. Actually, no, wait, he put up. Wait, how did he fall so much? Wait, no, that's his draft year +1. I was like, how do you have 79 points and he's 6'4" and he fell to 62nd overall? But he had 20 in 20. I guess he dealt some injuries, much like his brother does, and fell to Chicago. Carter Major, I believe, is okay. Productive this year for the AHL team. Maybe could turn into something for Detroit. Just going on what names I remember. Nothing much in the 3rd round, I believe. Someone's going to say I messed up. Emil Lippberg has been okay. He's been an everyday defenseman for Tampa Bay. So, how did he get to Tampa Bay? I don't know. Someone let me know in the comments. You guys love when I'm just looking through these names going. Ethan Cardwell looks like he's got some NHL action with San Jose. Oh, been very productive in the AHL. San Jose has a damn good AHL squad this year with like Cagnani, Graf. Good find in the fourth round by San Jose there. Dylan Duke has got 2 games of NHL action, decently productive at the AHL level. James Malatesta. Okay. Got the call up last year. Looks like actually not killing it exactly at the AHL level, but still good for him. Not seeing any steals. Joshua Wah scored against the New York Islanders in that big game. He was looking like a monster after what he did in his draft year +1 and draft year +2. Like, my God, this guy was looking like a beast. Still could potentially be something in terms of a bottom sixer for Montreal, but expectations have definitely been lowered since. Now we can move on to the 6th round. Not seeing any guys with NHL action or that I recognize. Yeah, this was a tough draft, man, because these guys lost their full draft year, most of them, and had some of their draft year -1 affected by COVID. Tyson Kozak, he scored for the Buffalo Sabres against Winnipeg Jets. I remember seeing that on the NHL app yesterday. Sam Lipkin is a college guy or previous college guy that was killing it. Not exactly killing it with the Arizona Coyotes or Utah Hockey Club now, but they still play their AHL games there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this video? What guys were steals? What guys were maybe a little bit of reaches? Which guys was I too low on that I should have been complimenting more? I'll be seeing the next one. Peace. Also, if you watched the draft video yesterday, go vote on the poll on my page. You got to go on my page. You got to click the post, or it's in your subscriber feed or something like that, or homepage. Go vote. And I'm not going to tell you to biasly vote for me. Whichever team you think won the draft, vote.